Hello, everyone. A very good evening to you all and a very warm welcome to the University of Lincoln. My name is Farhan Ahmed and I am Head of Department for Marketing, Languages and Tourism. And it's an absolute pleasure to be with you this evening to have a special webinar with regards to our tourism, events and sports business management subject group. Now, as you can see, I'm joined by a number of my colleagues and students this evening, and I hope that the next 25 to 30 minutes of your evening will be an insightful one as we take you through a journey with regards to our programs in international tourism management, events management, and sports business management. The whole point of this evening and the main purpose behind the webinar is for you, our prospective students, to be able to ask as many questions as you wish. And we know that you will have plenty, whether that be of my respective program leaders or whether that be of my students in the room. So please don't be shy to use all of the functions you have available to you this evening to ask your questions, and we will endeavor to make sure that we're able to answer as many as we possibly can. The last thing I just want to say is, should you have any particular questions with regards to where you are in the admissions process at the present time, we will ensure that we provide you the contact details so that you are able to discuss that in a more one-to-one basis should you wish. But the main purpose today is to talk about our wonderful programs, which are genuinely world leading, and for you to gain a greater insight into the finer details of our degrees and what our respective students think of undertaking those degrees as well. So on that note, and the more exciting element of this evening, I like to take this opportunity to introduce my colleagues in the room, of which you can see there are a number. So I'm joined by my three program leaders, who I'll get to introduce themselves in a moment. And then we're also joined by three of our students as well. So I'm going to go to our program leaders first of all. I'm going to start with Dr. Therese Winter first of all, and allow her to introduce herself to begin with.
Hello everyone, my name is Therese Winter and I'm Program Leader for Events Management. I'm also Senior Lecturer for Tourism, Events and Hospitality. And I'm looking forward to your questions tonight and seeing you in person actually in 2 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Therese. Moving on, we're going to be joined by Dr. Claudia Sima. So I'm going to hand over to you at this point.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Claudia Sim, and I'm the Program Leader for International Tourism Management, and I'm joined by our ambassadors as well. We look forward to answering all your questions, and thank you for joining us again. Thank you, Farhan.
Thank you, Claudia. And then the last, but by no means the least of my program leaders, Dr. Julie Donald.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Julie Donald, and I'm the Program Lead for the Sports Business Management Programme. I'm also Senior Lecturer and teach across the programme at all three levels, in particular in Year 2 and the dissertation module and research method. So I look forward to seeing you across the whole programme, and in particular tonight in listening to your questions, answering those, and seeing you in September.
Wonderful. So Claudia, Therese and Julie are my three most senior program leaders in the department, and they are effectively responsible for your well-being, whether that be from an academic perspective or whether it be from a pastoral perspective when you join us. So make sure you remember their names, because they will become extremely well known to you and you'll be liaising with them, hopefully from October onwards when you join our respective degrees. Now, I'm also going to now introduce our students, and I'm going to start back to front. So I'm going to start with Julie's student, who's on sports business management first. So Jack, over to you. Introduce yourself and tell us some exciting news that you shared with us a few moments ago.
Hi, yeah, so I'm on the sports business management program, and I'm a level 3, so I've just actually completed my program and I received my result today, and I managed to get a first class degree. So
brilliant. And that is what it's all about, isn't it, really? At the end of the day, it's seeing our students progress from where you are in the journey at the moment, applying all the way through to where Jack is sat right now, where he's just got his final results for his degree program. So many congratulations to you, Jack. Getting a first is not easy by any means of the imagination. So we're going to explore that with you a little bit more during this evening. But from all of us, many congratulations on your success. It's great to see. Brilliant. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to India, who is Claudia's student. So over to you, India.
Hello everybody, my name is India and I'm a first year International Tourism Management student, and it's a pleasure to have you all joining this webinar this evening.
Brilliant. Nice to see you, India. And you're at the very start of your journey. You're coming to the end of your first year. And I'm sure you've got a number of things you want to tell us about this evening as well, because from the very start of your degree, I know there's some amazing opportunities that our tourism students are offered as well. So we're looking forward to hearing from you. And then finally, Emily, I'm going to come to you with regards to events management.
Hi, I'm a second year events management student. So in September, I'll be going into third year. And yeah, I'm looking forward to answering any questions or telling about the experience.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, you're probably wondering that we've picked our students deliberately, not because they're going to say great things about the university and the department, which I hope they will, because they've not been primed. But more significantly, we've got a spread of students. We've got a first year, a student going from second to third, and then Jack, who's obviously just completed his studies with us. And we've done that on purpose, because what that does is it gives you an overview of the entire journey with us. And that's important to know, because what you do in the first year as compared to your third year will be two very different things. So on that note, I think to be able to explain that overall journey, we are hopeful that you will be able to get a bit more information with regards to our degree programs. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Therese, who's going to talk to you about her degree program for a few moments. And I'm sure we'll then at that point bring in Emily, who can talk about actually undertaking those modules as well. So over to you, Therese, for events management.
Okay, hello everyone. I'd like to share a few information on the events management degree. And here you can also already see the structure on the screen of our newly revalidated program that starts in September actually. So this program integrates a range of business related modules, and these are the red options, the red fields actually. And this is for you to acquire business and management skills, which you need to work in any industry actually. Event-specific knowledge is delivered through very specific events modules, and also so through departmental modules, which are represented in the blue and the green boxes. In the first year, we start with theoretical concepts on principles and concepts of events management. And then we expand on this in the second year, where we seek to provide you with professional knowledge and skills on event management and planning. In the final year, then, you are asked to apply your knowledge. And we have a module that's called Live Events Management, which Emily can tell you more about actually. In the final year, we also ask you to critically reflect on research and practice. And this is how our course is structured. In addition to that, we have a range of optional modules. And through these optional modules, you have the opportunity to tailor your experience with us. And this is just a brief information about the structure of the program. Of course, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask anytime tonight, or also you can contact us via email and ask questions then. I will now hand over back to Farhan, actually.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Therese, and that overview of our events management program. Now, at this point, I always like to talk to our students, because the best part of our events management program is the practical and theoretical mixture that you will do. It's not all just about learning about how to plan an event. You will actually be doing as well. And it's at this point I want to bring Emily into the conversation, because I know, having finished your second year, you are very much doing the event. So tell us a little bit about the practical elements, Emily, and what you've done in your journey so far.
Yeah, so unlike most of the modules, which are like mainly learning, this was very hands-on. And we were split into a big group, and within that, we would then decide what sector of the event planning we wanted to be in. So I was personally in finance, but there was also project management, marketing, and operations. So people could cater to then potentially what sector they wanted to go in after their degree. It was a charity event, so we then decided what charity we wanted to do, what type of event, which we ended up doing a Christmas themed bingo event, which went really well in one of the local bars, and we got over 100 attendees, which are a mixture of our friends and other students, and managed to raise nearly £400 for charity. So personally, I think it went quite well. But yeah, it was just a very like hands-on experience, gave a bit more of a potentially what we'll be doing after our degree. And yeah, I think we all really enjoyed it overall.
Brilliant. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Emily. What do you want to do after? What sort of events do you want to work in when you graduate eventually?
From like a young age, I've like been very interested in finance. So I think after my degree, I will mainly go into financing events, potentially more behind the scenes, not so front case of events. But I think overall with my like fellow students, there's a big mix of what everyone wants to go into. So this degree offers a lot of help for any area.
Brilliant. And I think you're doing a fine job with the finance, because any event that can generate £400 for charity is absolutely brilliant. So keep doing the good work in that regard. The last question I've got for you on the events program, which I'm sure we'll come back to you in a few moments, is obviously you've talked about the practical modules. Which ones of your other modules have you enjoyed the most in the first 2 years, or which are you looking forward to in the third year as well?
I personally really enjoyed the organisational behaviour module in first year, as I've done business throughout like secondary school and sixth forms. So I've always had a very like business mind. So I knew quite a lot of the models and theories that we did, and it just further like advanced my knowledge. And then probably this year, which is one of Julie's modules, was a sponsorship module, because it was just a very interesting side of events that you don't normally learn about. And I think overall, like all my course, like collectively, all really enjoyed that module.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. We're going to come back to you in a little while, because there's a few other areas of events management that I want to explore with you. But before we do that, let's move on to our next program. And at this point, I want to bring in Claudia into the conversation and get you to talk very similar to what Therese did about your program, because having done this particular degree program myself, because I am a product of the system, if I can call it that. So many, many years ago, I actually did the International Tourism Management degree program myself. I won't declare what year, because it's terrifyingly a long time ago. And through a horrible twist of fate, I now find myself as the head of department, which is genuinely a real honor and a privilege of my life to do so. But Claudia, tell us about this degree that means the world to me, because I love it to bits.
Brilliant. Thank you, Farhan. Well, the program is designed to allow graduates flexibility to work in a range of roles and aspects of the industry after graduation: destination marketing and management, attractions management, culture and heritage management, project management as well. And as you can see from the structure, it's because of the knowledge and the skills that you gain across the 3 or 4 years with us. You start off with that very important business and management knowledge, and also the fundamentals around tourism, and also the application in practice through case studies. Then you go on to progress to year 2 and find out in-depth information around some of the most vital elements of the tourism industry. So, for example, culture and heritage management, or how to design immersive visitor experiences, or sustainability within tourism. And you also work with a range of clients and important business partners of ours from the area, from the region, from Lincolnshire, within the client-based project. And that should allow you the opportunity to go on to a placement, hopefully, if you want to do that, between your second and third year. And we have a range of very interesting placement providers. Students have gone to work in hotels, in travel agencies, consultancy. And when you come back with us, you have a chance to put all of that experience into practice and design your own dissertation topic, or go for a consultancy project, but just rounds up your whole experience. Or if you want to open your own business, you also have a module that will encourage you to do that, and also to have this future thinking attitude. So overall, the degree allows you a considerable amount of flexibility around what you study, how you study, and that will be very valuable later on when you actually start to work in the industry. We are very visible in the industry. Our graduates tend to get jobs very quickly and are appreciated within the industry. And that is also seen in our accreditation bodies as well. We have accreditation from the Tourism Industry Management Institute, so TMI. We're also an APTA Plus member, and actually India is our ambassador, our student ambassador. So I'll let her talk about how important it is to actually have Intrepid Travel mentor her, and she'll have a wonderful project with them over the next year, I think. But overall, it's a very interesting degree, I would argue. India, would you like to talk about your experience so far in year one, and what is it like to be an APTA Plus ambassador? Because you're very visible on the website and social media. Everyone's talking about you. That's great already. You're just in year one.
Thank you so much, Claudia. So yes, I'm lucky enough to have the privilege to study international tourism management. Having never studied it at A-level or throughout school, I honestly went in with no idea what to expect from the course. So I sort of went in with a completely open mind, which sometimes is the best way to be, I felt. And honestly, I can't stress enough how much I've enjoyed the course. I found the modules to be extremely engaging. And I found that my course, for myself personally, has offered a lot of high quality in-person teaching, as well as a variety within the modules as well. So for example, I've personally found I like the Principles of Tourism Management module the most, purely because the tourism element of my degree is where my interests do lie. However, because it's got that management and business side of the course as well, I feel like it's quite a broad spectrum of different areas that you can discover as well. Open your mind to different business perspectives, different marketing techniques, advertising. I feel like the course encompasses so many different elements to it. And in addition to that, of course, as Claudia rightly said, I am a member of ABTA. I work in affiliation with them, and I have a personal sort of tutor who's able to teach me a broad spectrum of different elements of both the tourism industry itself and the whole sort of business model of said industry. And I'll be working a lot closer with the company and with my personal tutor over the next year or so. We've got some very exciting projects that I'm very looking forward to. So yes.
Brilliant. Thank you, India. Farhan, back to you.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, India. And that is absolutely hit the nail on the head there, India. Some of the additional opportunities that are offered to you when you join the degree is fantastic. And I'm so grateful that you're taking these up, because you're clearly motivated, you're interested, and you're doing a fantastic job in getting that additional experience, you know, whether that be with ABTA, whether it be with TMI, all of these various recognition bodies that we're working with. And it's so great to hear that you're enjoying it and you're getting these real life skills. One thing that really intrigued me by what you said, India, was that actually, and you used the words perfectly, you came here with an open mind because you had never studied tourism before. And you came here and like you said, you came here with an open mind. What was that like, by the way, i.e. not studying tourism before and then hitting the road running from day one? Did you find that difficult, or did you adapt quite quickly?
Well, I think it's the same as anyone that's going to university to study for the first time. There is that major intimidation factor. And obviously, you potentially have all these apprehensive thoughts going around in your head, like, what's it going to be like? What's the university experience going to be like? Am I actually going to enjoy my course? And I had all of those thoughts as well. So I completely empathize with any of you who are watching this. If you're experiencing any of those at the moment, that's completely normal. However, I personally found that in spite of those thoughts, I was completely blown away with the entire experience of going to the University of Lincoln. I found I had a great support network, both through my personal tutor, Claudia, and through the Students' Union. And there's so many different platforms which you can engage with to meet people and speak to different people. And I found the general atmosphere just really, really welcoming. And there's a real sense of community at the university, I felt.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, final question. This is open to all the students because because I know you guys all do some shared field trips. Tell me about some of the field trips that you guys have been on, because I know there are many and I get told about these on a weekly basis, but I want to know which ones have stood out to you guys. Emily, let's come to you first of all. Which field trips have you enjoyed the most? And then we'll come to you, Jack. I think Emily might just be struggling to unmute. So I tell you what, Jack, are you able to come in at this point? Tell us about your field trips, because I know you guys go on a fair few with the sports business students collectively as well.
Yeah, so the biggest field trip I'd say that we did is we went to the Lincoln City Football Stadium for like a stadium tour. So we got taken around all of the different facilities and that, which as a sports student that's something you want to do. And especially when the stadium's so close to the university, it's like a 10-minute walk. It's so interesting to see what goes on behind the scenes at a football club in the League One.
Brilliant. That sounds great. India, is there anyone that it stands out to you?
Yes, so earlier this year in April, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to go to visit Slovenia on a 4-day trip with the LIBS 100 trips global experiences that they offer. And that was absolutely amazing. Slovenia is never somewhere that I ever thought I'd have the opportunity to visit. However, I ended up having the most amazing time. We did such a variety of different activities, including more rural areas we explored, as well as city experiences as well. We visited Ljubljana, the main city, capital city of Slovenia. And yeah, we were able to visit a private business college while we were there as well. And we had a variety of different talks from different spokespeople, as well as students that are lucky enough to study at the college as well. So it was a really, really interesting experience. But like I say, I was extremely fortunate to have that opportunity this particular year.
Brilliant. And Emily, we'll come to you now. I think you're back online as such.
Yeah, in terms of field trips, there has been a couple available for our course, but also in response to the question in terms of guest speakers, I think that's been really beneficial for my course. First year we had one for an event design company based in Manchester, which I know some of my course mates have actually been fortunate to then get jobs with them. And this year we had a guest speaker in terms of hospitality to open us up to that sector as well. So yeah, it's just given us a good insight, and then we've been able to keep in touch with them through like LinkedIn to then find out about future opportunities with them.
Brilliant. Yeah, and you've highlighted it there. It's not just the opportunity to go and see places and to meet new people, but it's actually an opportunity to network as well. So using guest speakers and field trips to expand your network is always useful as well. Brilliant. So David Speed, I hope that helps to answer the question you asked about guest speakers and field trips. If you've got a follow-up question, don't be shy to ask. We'll be more than happy to answer it. But at this point, I'm going to come on to our final program, which is Julie's Sports Business Management. So over to you, Julie.
Hi there. Yeah, so as program lead, I'd like to just give a brief overview about the program. It is the revalidated degree, so we're really excited about delivering this from September. So you'll see that there is some overlap between the three programs, because obviously they fit quite nicely together. With the blue boxes being those modules which are delivered specifically for our sports business management students. And the students that we do get on our programme generally tend to be those who are interested in sport, but they're not quite sure what they go into, but they know that probably it isn't the science side of sport or the coaching side of sport. So we get students who come over generally interested in business, interested in sports. And I think that reflects on some of the outcomes where students go on to and the careers that they go into. Because what our programme does is it gives students that underpinning business management context, which is then applied to sport. So we often talk a lot about football's quite a commonality, but we try and introduce a whole range of other sports. And it might be, if we're talking about sponsorship, it might be around Formula One. It might be looking at rugby, it might be looking at netball, hockey, etc. So the whole range that we do trying to bring in to cover the students' interest that we have on the programme. The first year we sort of give you these principles and concepts of sports business. It covers a whole range around how sports in society and how they're embedded together and how sport impacts society, but how culturally it has the opposite effect as well, whereas sports gives a message. And we've seen that with quite recently some of the Black Lives Matters and lots of other messages what have come through sports as well. In the second year, we have a couple of try and have those dedicated modules which build on that first year more. We go into more depth, more understanding around that sports culture society, looking at sponsorship, what we've mentioned, and also the commercial sports club management is quite a popular module that students really enjoy, because that is around, we get local sports clubs in to set as a business challenge, and you work in a group to come up and deliver that. You visit the organisation. So we've had local golf clubs, we've had Barton Inclusive Football Club, we've had a running event organiser, a whole range of different opportunities that students enjoy. This coming year, we're looking at an athletics club and also a tennis club as well for that module. And then in the third year, again, we have that independent project, which is where you bring together what you've learned from the previous years and focus on something which is of real interest to you and apply it to a sport or a context that's of interest to you. And hopefully Jack will be able to tell you about some of the highlights he's had on the programme. So I'll hand over to Jack if I could.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously first year I would say was just sort of getting the basis, like you're learning all the Harvard referencing and getting your foot in. So it's quite a nice year. You learn quite a lot of like the core business stuff. And then moving into second year, that's when you get to really like choose what you want to do. So you get to pick some options and stuff. So I also enjoyed the live events management option, which I believe Emily spoke about, because it gives you that freedom to sort of create your own event and sort of be creative in a live business environment, or not business environment, but in like an event environment. And I also enjoyed a module I did was business law, which I really enjoyed. And then as you go into year 3, it sort of becomes more like you do your dissertation or an independent project. I think it's client-based project or something. And you do a range of different modules, but they're all very different, and you learn a lot of stuff over the time you're here.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Now, Jack, I'm going to ask you a question just before we go on to a question that's come in from our audience. What are your plans now that you've graduated with a first class honours? The world is at your feet, so tell us.
So I'm actually taking a very unique option. So I'm actually going into a master's, but I'm going to a master's in law, in business law, because I really enjoyed the module I did in year 2, which was on business law, and I've really developed a passion for it. So I'm now going into that with a view to hopefully move into sports law as a career.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. And your example there is something that is very common. You'll work your way through a degree program, and one assessment or one lecture or one module, as is in the case of Jack, will just stick in your head. It will spark an interest. It will spark an unbridled passion for something, and that's it. That's the launch of your career as such. So that's fantastic to hear that you're going on to postgraduate study, Jack. So well done again in that regard. So we have a question from the audience, which we're going to take. And I'm going to be honest with you, this isn't one for the staff members by any means. It's one for our students. So I'll let you fight over it. So what was it that attracted you to the University of Lincoln and your particular course? And I'm happy for all 3 of you to answer in turn. So India, I'm going to start with you. First of all, tell us, why tourism? What attracted you to it and the university?
Well, as I previously said, I'd never studied tourism throughout school at all. So like I said before, I did take almost like a risk going into the course and trying it for the first time. And I've had the best luck with it. Like I've said, I absolutely love it. I really, really enjoy it. But I think I did a lot of traveling growing up, a lot of going on holidays, a lot of sort of backpacking, that sort of thing. So having the opportunity to engage in a degree that encompasses my passion for traveling and, exploring was just the best. It's absolutely amazing. And as far as going to Lincoln specifically, I think the city appealed to me because it's very safe. I found walking around you feels a real sense of community, and it's just a very safe, secure city to live in. And as well as the actual university itself being a campus-based university in the city centre, it's rare to find that sense of community anywhere else. So I think if any of that's what you're looking for, then Lincoln's definitely the place to go.
Lovely. Fantastic. Okay. Emily, over to you. Why Lincoln and why events? Tell me.
Like India has just said, it's mainly was the closeness of everything in Lincoln. Everything's nearby. Everything's within a 20-minute max walk from the uni itself. So unlike some bigger cities, I was a bit like, a bit scared of that. So perfect for like commuting to uni if you're living in the city. Also in terms of the course itself, for my year that I joined, it was very high up in the rankings. So I knew I was going to be learning from good academics and learning like good theory. Also the like breadth of what we learn on the course. So it's not just all about events, it's about general business ones, which can help if you then want to change like where you're going in life. And another thing as well was that the uni itself has a massive range of like societies and sports clubs, which I found so like useful in finding friends and just gaining more experience from a uni lifestyle.
Awesome. That is absolutely brilliant. And you've hit some of the key points there. We are very blessed by the fact that we are extremely high in the league tables. And that is something that we have had consistently now for close to 10 to 12 years, where we've been consistently ranked in the top 5, top 6 of all of the major league tables in the UK. I think the main one that most students pay the greatest attention to, and rightfully so, is the Guardian League tables. And we do exceptionally well in that in our subject areas. So please do, as a student, make sure you look at our rankings on that when you are thinking of making your decisions. Brilliant. Jack, over to you for the sports business. Tell me, why SBM at Lincoln?
Yeah, so speaking of the Guardian table, I did actually use that in my decision to join a university, because I saw how highly ranked it was and stuff like that. And obviously, when you get to the university and when you go to Lincoln, it is that sort of community feel factor, like the other two touched up on. You are literally within a 10-minute walk from all the main bars, the clubs, everything, the shops, everything in Lincoln is so close to you. And as well, like, it's just that ability to feel safe. I know that the Students' Union is a big part of the university experience, and I would just recommend that when you are at the university, just take it all in and just make the most of every opportunity you get given. The sports and societies are so helpful in getting friends and all sorts. And as for my course in particular, I've always had such an interest in sport. I've followed football throughout my whole life. That's my favorite sport, but I like cricket, I like Formula One, and it was sort of, I did business at both GCSE and A level, and it was the opportunity to still study a business degree, but to be able to write an assignment on a sports business or something you actually got a passion for, it makes it that little bit easier to do. So it's definitely interesting to do.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jack. That's fantastic. If I may just make one last point before we move on to the one other question we've got from David on in the audience is, Jack, you've hit upon a good point. I always say to students that are making decisions, which are really important decisions about which program to do and which university to come to, is yes, the degree program is vitally important. The location is incredibly important. But think of the other things like yourself, Jack, and Emily and India have highlighted today. You know, is there a community around you which you feel part of, that you feel home in? Okay. Do you feel safe when you're in and around the city, when you're here for the open days? Because these are absolutely vital things. And I always say to students, picking a university is a marriage. It's a marriage between the program and the location. So you always have to join those two together. So that's just my small words of wisdom that I like to leave with students. We have a question, and we will take this question now, if that's okay. We have another question from David. So good evening to you again, David. What has been your favorite module so far? So Jack, I think we know what your answer is, but confirm it to us, because it set you off on a career. Starting with you.
Yeah, definitely the business law module. I just thought it was so interesting to learn a different side of business that you might not see like otherwise. So definitely business law.
Excellent. Yeah. And like you say, it's launched hopefully what will be a very fruitful and successful career for you, all being well. Emily, over to you.
I would say based of core modules would probably be the general practices and concepts for the events management in first year, just because of the breadth that you learn so many sectors and our lecturer Tom was really good with drawing in his experience because he's worked on so many events. So it just gave a different aspect of learning it.
Brilliant. That sounds good. And India, over to you.
I enjoyed the Principles of Tourism Management module the most. I just found it encompassed a lot of my interests the most.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much. I love it. Everyone's got such diverse interests, and that's what's the best thing about our degrees. You know, you've all got an interest in the degree title, but within it, it's so interesting to see what catches people's imaginations, and that's come across tonight. I hope for the audience watching, you realize that whichever element you like, you will be catered for. Brilliant. The questions are coming in fast and furiously. So we're going to go to another question, which is about sports teams and societies. And in particular, which ones did you get involved in? So India, I'm going to start with you this time, because I know you're a very keen player of hockey. So over to you.
Yeah, so I did a lot of hockey throughout school. However, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to continue that once I went to university. I wasn't sure that I'd be able to make the time, but turns out I couldn't resist it, and I just needed to get involved, and I'm so glad that I did. So I'm part of the women's third team for hockey. So I do it more for fun rather than competitive. But I think that's nice, especially for the social element as well. I've met so many great friends through playing hockey. So yeah, was definitely for me a great thing to get involved in for more of the social element, as well as obviously the fun sport element of it as well.
Excellent. Now, I know, Emily, you mentioned that you really liked the fact that the university had so many sports societies and academic societies and so forth. So tell us a little bit about yourself, because actually, not only are you a member of a sports society, but actually you're a big deal in it. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I've had an experience from both the sports and the academic societies. I was in Rounder Society, first and second, and next year I'm going to be president. So, and I can personally say that's been like the best thing that I've joined. I've made so many friends from it. It's a nice break from the studying. We've had lots of competitions, which luckily we've won them all. So, but yeah, it's just a really nice other side of university, which I would stress the importance of so much. And also this year, I was on the Business Society Committee, which we were able to get like loads of live guest speakers from companies like Santander and ACCA offering. We had over nearly 300 members, and we were able to do like end of year balls. So we had a winter ball and a summer ball, which got over 200 attendees to both as well. And we just created a really great atmosphere and another side to give people opportunities for they can connect with professionals to give them more experience. And yeah, it was just really good. I would definitely stress the importance of joining them in terms of gaining more experience while you're at university, and also for friends and socializing.
Brilliant. And you've highlighted something really important there. It's not just all sports societies. I know we've talked about them this evening, but actually there's a great range and there's a great breadth of academic societies as well, such as the ones you've been involved in, Emily, because it's surprisingly at university, most people think there's just sports societies, but actually there's a huge network of really interesting academic societies you can get involved in as well. And just because you might be a business school student doesn't mean you can't go and get involved in the History Society, for example, or any other society which isn't your academic discipline. Brilliant. So Jack, tell us about your sports societies and teams that you've been involved in, because yours is quite topical in light of some of the series that are going on at the moment.
Yeah, so I joined the Cricket Society. It was more so as like a social thing because I'd never played cricket before, but it gives you the opportunity to just sort of try something new. And I would put a massive emphasis on that. If there's something that you wanted to actually pursue that you've never done before, university is probably the best experience. You'll have to do that because no one will judge you or you're not going to get slated. It's one of those things where it's like a community for everyone, no matter your ability or whatever. And then even in the local community as a whole. So I joined a local team in Lincoln to play football. And through that, I got the opportunity to play at Sincil Bank. So I just say that just take on whatever you can, opportunity wise, academics, sports. There's so much available for everyone. Just take it on as you can.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I feel like I'm getting to know what you do in your daily lives, which is absolutely fantastic here. David, you have one last question from our audience, which is on accommodation. And in particular, once again, this is very much for our student participants tonight, in the sense that David would like to know more about whether you were in halls or whether you lived elsewhere. In terms of accommodation, because we know accommodation is a huge part of your student experience. So feel free. Who would like to go first? I don't mind. Jack, do you want to go first? Where did you live? On campus, or were you slightly further out of the campus?
So first year I lived on campus, as I think it was the best opportunity to sort of make loads of new friends and to sort of socialize. It's such a good situation. And after that, I eventually moved into a house with a group of friends who I lived with from all 3 years. And I was 5 minutes from the campus and 10 minutes from the city.
Brilliant. And that just shows you how unique we are, because at the very start of this evening's webinar, India made the comment that actually we are a city centre campus university. And that is spot on, because everything is in such close walking distance. So that is absolutely spot on. And actually, you're not far away in that regard. Brilliant. Emily, tell us a little bit about whether you were on campus or further into the city.
Like Jack just said, I was also in one of the on-campus accommodations called Signet Wharf in first year, which was really good. It was on campus. It was max 5 minutes away from any building on campus. So if I woke up late, I didn't have to stress. I could still make it. It was really good community. So we made lots of friends within our block. And then second year, I have moved into another house in the city, which again is about a 10-minute walk to the campus. So again, really close by. Just gives you a bit of a change. So unlike in first year where I was in a bigger group, I could then just live with some friends. And yeah, it was really good. It's a good experience to have both.
Lovely. And India, tell us about your living arrangements.
So I lived in St. Mark's this past year. And similar to what Emily said, I found it to be a positive experience in the sense of making friends in my block. And I was quite fortunate that I got along really well with the people I was put in my flat with. And I'm also going to continue living with those same girls in my house going into second year. So I was very fortunate in that sense. And I really liked my accommodation, and it's not a very long walk from campus at all. It's about 5 minutes. So it's really close and really convenient. And it's also close to the shops as well. So that's also good.
Lovely. Thank you so much. In terms of the accommodation for any students that are watching, the one thing I want to say on behalf of the university is that we have a range of accommodation, and that range of accommodation is largely based upon the budget requirements that you will have. So you can make those informed decisions about accommodation based upon how much you would effectively want to spend. So please do contact the university. There's incredible amounts of information available on our accommodation web pages on the university's website, but don't be shy in contacting us should you need anything else. So on that note, colleagues, I just want to start to round off this evening because it's been such a wonderful discussion. We could go on for hours because there's so much to talk about. But first and foremost, and this is probably the most important bit, I want to say a massive thank you to India, Emily, and Jack. You have given us an insight which is incredible about studying in our programs. And I'm so proud as head of department to hear about all the excellent things that you guys do in your degree, and then also the fantastic achievements you have at the wider university as well. Finally, I also just want to say a very quick thank you and my great appreciation to Therese, Julie, and Claudia. I know how much incredible work they do as program leaders. I see this day in, day out, and how much time and effort they spend on each one of our students. And I hope that if you're watching this evening, you're able to come here and enjoy that care and that attention to detail that my program leaders provide in October or being well. And I just want to round off by saying, for those of you that have joined us live this evening, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening. We really are grateful that you've taken the time and effort to join us today. We hope, more importantly, that this webinar has helped you in terms of any information that you were seeking, but actually, more importantly, has inspired you to come and join us in Lincoln, because we are very excited about welcoming you in October and to be making you a part of our community in tourism, events and sports business management. Okay, and as head of department, on that note, I wish you well for the future, whatever your destination in life is, wherever you decide to pursue your studies. We wish you the very best of luck, and the very more importantly, the good luck for the future for your careers. So thank you again, take care, and have a wonderful evening.